Hi, I'm here with Adrian Bentley, who is a copywriter at Just Good Ideas, and I'll be asking him a series of questions about his job role in the marketing industry. So, Adrian, thank you for doing this. Of course, it's a pleasure to talk to you. The
That's
first
great. No
question I'd
problem
like
at
to
all.
thank you. So, the first question I'd like to ask is, how have you got to where you are today?
Okay, so it's been quite some journey, taken a while. So I started out in creative industries as a designer, straight out of art school in 93, I think it was. And I, with the help of a grant from the Prince's Youth Business Trust, set up my first design agency with my best friend. We had about 6 years of peaks and troughs. Don't mind telling you, they were mostly troughs at that early age, and learning by some a lot of mistakes, and some more costly than others. But we cut our teeth in, at the coalface in the early days, with this, setting up this agency, creative partnership, and then I just made a move into agency land. So I got my first role in a marketing agency. Then you sort of write the dubious virtues of the onset of the grey hairs, I guess, at an early ages. You get a promotion, you get a pay rise, you get another promotion, another pay rise, and before you know it, you're managing people, and then before you know it, you're kind of in a position where potentially you're looking at owning an agency. So it wasn't a meteoric, I can promise you that, but it was an interesting journey of putting in the hard yards, getting recognised, and just getting and moving on in terms of position. But I worked at some great agencies, advertising, design, marketing agencies. Like I say, working at them, being a manager at them, then owning, and then actually 11 years ago, I decided that I'd just about learned enough, I think, although always still learning. 11 years ago, I left agencies behind and went freelance as a consultant. Now, you introduced me as a copywriter. Actually, that's not strictly speaking true. I guess I frame my job, my role as a brand consultant. But the sweet spot of that is typically helping brands, whether they're startup brands or well-established brands, either imagine or reimagine their brand definition, establish their DNA, and I guess establish a tone of voice. I hesitate sometimes to call myself a copywriter because I've had the great privilege of working with some outstanding copywriters. And this isn't imposter syndrome kicking in, but sometimes like I say, I'll bring in writers to work on projects when I know either they've got a specialism or they're just a damn sight better than me. But writing brand definitions, establishing what brands stand for and what they don't stand for, defining their values, their mission, their vision, and setting up a tone of voice. That's kind of where I've landed now. So nearly 30 years on, that's kind of what I do most of and what I do best, I think.
Okay, nice. So what would you say is, I'm sure like your days were definitely jam-packed, and of course every day is different. But what would you say a day in your life typically entails?
Okay, there certainly is no routine, except this last couple of week period feels like it started something of a routine. And I have to say, sometimes routines feel like the safe place to go when you know what you're going to be doing and when. And I have to say, I kind of caught a little bit more chaos than that, or the unexpected. I'm a big fan of lesser trodden roads. They in my experience get you to more exciting destinations. But last couple of weeks, I've been working with a client in Australia and another client in New York. So they bookended the day with earlys and late. So from 7 a.m, we're on to Australia for their end of day, and then later on at from 7-8 in the evening onto the American clients to start their day. that might sounds like it was a bit misjudged doing both at once. But the middle bit is getting the job done. And I guess the biggest challenge for me is keeping some discipline in there and putting some time between the meetings that allow you to actually do the work. And I think that's, for me, one of the biggest challenges in running a freelance business.
Okay, fair. So would you say that's one of the biggest challenges throughout your entire career, or would you say it's just something that you have to go through usually day to day?
Yeah, mostly as a freelancer. So I as you know, it's a one-man business. There's just me.
Yeah.
So you're accountable for everything, and you've got to wear an awful lot of hats. So now I've got to make sure the accountant's not, shouting at me, and clients are paying, and all those things that, when you're in a relatively insulated position, maybe in a lofty position in an agency, for instance, you've got lots of people to do that for you. You've got lots of people you can lean on. But no, you're the one-man band, and you do it, doing everything. So the last 11 years have been, well, it started out as a very steep learning curve, and it keeps on going. Managing time is I think the biggest challenge.
Okay, so what would you say? Would you say in your role you feel like you're making a change in your, just in your placement?
Yeah, making a change to my clients' world,
your clients' world, the world in general. Any way you think you make a change, do you feel like you do?
So you'll have heard it a million times when people say, pick a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not strictly speaking true, because if you work until 3 o'clock in the morning till your eyes bleed the night before a big presentation, it feels like work. But I am blessed, really blessed, that I love what I do. I'm not sure I could do anything else, so that I struck lucky there. But what I would say is, are you still there?
Yeah.
Sorry,
no
my
worries.
computer just screen went off then for a second. I'm never happier than when I'm working with a client that has sufficient trust, and I guess respect, but trust mostly in me, to say, lead us on a journey and take us somewhere. And again, I've got a few hats that I wear. I'm a non-exec director for an events company, and they put a lot of trust in me around the boardroom table to guide them strategically and commercially. But when I'm working directly with clients, they're putting a lot of trust, and there's a lot at stake when we may be redefining a brand architecture and losing a brand name that's got some heritage and potentially some value to it. So I don't take that responsibility lightly. And what I make absolutely sure is that I don't make these decisions based purely on my opinion. I think if we did that, what's your favorite color? What color are your curtains in that room? They might be different than the ones in mine, and we've all got a personal preference. Whereas actually, when it comes to brand and copy and content, it can't be about my taste. So that's the biggest challenge. But like I say, never happier or more thrilled than I'm working with a client where I can make a real transformational difference. Working with one at the moment who evangelizes to everyone that can see about what a good fortune they had. This sounds really arrogant. It's not supposed to be. That the day we met, because I took their business and brand on a journey. I didn't change the way they behaved or the way they did anything really, but I just recognized it, held a mirror up to them, and articulated what they stood for that they'd never done before. So gave them a brand, gave them a tone of voice, gave them a vocabulary, and gave them a real confidence. It's like, give the guy a pair of Louboutins, and he's going to walk in that room, and he's going to be in business. And I just dress the firm for success, and it feels great. It does feel good.
Okay, that's nice. So what would you say motivates you in your role to go into work every day, despite maybe some nights having to type out until 3 a.m. maybe? What would you say is the motivational factor?
still for me, the thing that drives me the most is seeing a job well done, seeing it through and seeing a job well done. And I've worked for lots and lots of people that they go on about these theories that about money not being the driving force and that. And when I was a younger guy and getting occasional pay rises, it felt pretty motivational to me. I must say it really did. I was going home and telling my mum and dad I was really proud, and I guess on reflection, I don't know whether that was the thing that I was celebrating more, or it was the pat on the back. It was the recognition that you've done a great job. It just happened to come with something that this is how we tell you we value it, and we give you a bit more money. So I've really never been driven by money. I think I've had potentially more than my fair share, and I've had practically none at all. And the only time it's important is when you've got none. I can tell you that for sure. So the money has never ever been a driving force, and thankfully, touch wood and just grab hold of it. I can, it comes. You do a great job for great people, and that's one of the most important things. So freedom for me looks like more of the same, maybe slightly less of the chaos on the back-to-back meetings, but this is just a bit of a sprint period. Is being able to decide who I work with and who I don't. So I would say vying for top spot is seeing the best job you can possibly do out there, living, earning its keep, delivering results, whatever the result might be. The result might be that the FD wants to see some notes on the bottom line. Fine, if that's your result. If I've made you smile because I've made that happen, it might be a charity that needs more donations. It might be a club that needs more followers. Whatever that reason is, what's the thing we're doing this in the first place? That's important. But like I say, neck and neck are working with great people that you can choose not to work with. And I've not done it often because I think you actually do attract like-minded people. But a couple of times in the last 11 years, I've taken great delight in very graciously saying no to people because the cultural value fit wasn't there. Okay, thank you for that. So for the final question, I'd say this may be the most important for people who want to come up into becoming into same similar role as you. What would you say is the best advice that you can give to someone who's trying to take the same route as you? Some of it is the stuff that you can't do anything about, but working alongside amazing people. My first ever creative director, who sadly passed away a few weeks ago, he was not knocking on a bit. I don't think I ever told him he was my Obi-Wan. He was my guide, my inspiration, my mentor. So either do it by stealth and have some mentors in your life, or ask someone to be your mentor. I would say the best piece of advice is working with great people. And it's sometimes a good idea to have mentors outside of your space that give you a different perspective. But as a creative writer, for example, or a designer, an art director, there's no better route to where you want to get to than learning from amazing people. So that would be it. So if you're lucky enough, be curious, ask questions. The health and well-being brigade will not like this, but stay late if it means shadowing someone doing something amazing. Don't make a habit of it. Don't join the stay late competition. I think that's toxic, and in many places it's gone now. But yeah, just don't be in a mad dash to jump on the bus when the magic's happening. For that 20 minutes after 5 o'clock, just stick around and be interested. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. That was a lovely way to end it. Very important as well. I heard a lot of people say, of course, the people that you keep with you are the people who take you as far in life. Yeah. I think they're the most important people to build your career. Don't necessarily believe your own hype too much, because you can get a very high opinion of yourself very, very quickly. But the people who've been there and done it, just give them some respect, and just keep an eye on how they do it, and then teach them something as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this interview, Adrian.
That's it.
Lovely hearing.
It's been a pleasure.